Hello, and thank you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You. My name is Dr. Sylvia Black, licensed real estate broker with affordable homes and apartments in Williamsville. Not in Williamsville, here in Buffalo, New York. I'm licensed to preach and ordained as a minister, and I have my master's degree in sacred theological divinity. And I'd like to thank you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You. Today, I'd like to talk to you. This show airs every Wednesday right here on Time Warner Public Access TV Channel 20. On Wednesdays, 6:30 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 12:30 to 1 in the afternoon. You can also hit me up on my YouTube address, which is sblack3001, which these videos are posted on, sometimes prior to the actual TV broadcast. You can also hit me up on Facebook at Dr. Sylvia Black or Highway to Heaven Church. You can visit me on Black Preaching Network. You can sample some of my music on SoundCloud. And today I'd like to talk to you. Again, thank you for joining me. Today I'd like to talk to you. I've been talking to you from the title of my book, You're Fired. But I've separated this book into two books because I realized that there are two different categories when I was talking to you. And the second half of this book has been converted to a book all its own entitled Sue Your Former Employer for Wrongful Termination and Win. It's called Sue Your Former Employer for Wrongful Termination and Win. It's derived out of You're Fired, Handling the Exit Interview with Grace. And I want to thank you for joining me today. And both of these books are available on lulu.com. So just type www.lulu.com, type in my name, Sylvia Black, and then type in the name of the book. Or just type in the name of the book and make sure you find my name next to it. Or you can go to my author's spotlight, or you can email me at affordablehomesанdapartments@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to send you the link in which you can order it directly. And I want to thank you for joining me today. We will be having some workshops on some of these topics so that I can help you, show you how to do it yourself, as I'm not a lawyer, so I can't represent you. If you qualify, you may qualify for legal aid assistance as well. Okay, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about what happens if you file for unemployment and are denied after you have been wrongfully terminated. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to be injecting I'm going to be talking about that which is going to be found in this book here. Sue Your Former Employer for Wrongful Termination and Win. Okay, now wrongful dismissal, also called wrongful termination or wrongful discharge, is an idiom and legal phrase describing a situation in which an employee's contract of employment has been terminated by the employer in circumstances where the termination breaches one or more terms of the contract of employment, or a statute provision in the employment law. It follows that the scope of wrongful dismissal varies according to the terms of the employment contract and varies by jurisdiction. Note that the absence of a formal contract of employment does not preclude the wrongful dismissal in jurisdictions in which a de facto contract is taken to exist by virtue of employment relationship. And I'll explain that to you when I talk to you in person, or we can do virtual reality on the computer or live streaming. Okay? Now, terms of such a contract may include obligations and rights outlined in any employment handbook. Being terminated for any of the items listed below may constitute wrongful termination, which are in the book actually when I say below. I can show you, as I did, to write the organizations that can help you find out if you've actually been wrongfully terminated. Terminate and work out a settlement with the company on your behalf without the use of a lawyer. It just bothered me so much that when I was fired, that just seemed like things just were going so wrong in that company. And it wasn't right, and it would not rest, so I sought help and finally found one. And yes, I do have a case, and I thank God for that. So sister about to get paid, okay? Come on, somebody talk to me. Okay, so now we're talking about sue your former employer for wrongful termination and win. Even if you're not sure if you have a case, it's best to write them anyway, because these employers are getting away with murder, honey. And they're trying to keep us out of the courtrooms and in the streets, killing each other. So we have to let them know that I know how to fight you and I know how to get you where it hurts. I'm going to take your money from you, but I'm going to do it legally. And that's how you do it, by filing cases in court, suing them, and winning. That's how you do it. And you can do it yourself, as I've done it myself. I've sued in civil court, I've sued in Supreme Court, I've sued in small claims court, and I've won every time. Not just once, but many times I found myself going back and forth to court. So did somebody do me wrong? I had even sued this one guy. I got this furniture, this 4-piece modular living room set. And I had put a down payment on it of $500. That show you how God works. This is God working in my life here, honey. Okay, I put the $500 down. I told him that I didn't want it. He wanted me to take the ottomans. I wanted something. I wanted 2 more ottomans to come with it or something. I don't remember what happened. And he refused. So I took him to court and I sued him for that $500 that I paid him. I won that, got my $500 back, and I was able to keep the living room set. Tell me God ain't good, okay? Now, are you at will employment or did you sign a contract? Okay, at will employment means that a company has no legal obligation to continue employing you, and they can generally fire you for any reason or for no reason at all. Okay, but the company may not fire an employee for an illegal reason. When you get fired, the law presumes that the termination was lawful, unless the employee can show that he or she was fired for an illegal reason. And in order to show cause, you must obtain a complaint to someone who can do something about it. Okay? And that's these organizations that I list in this book. Okay, it's not legal, it's not illegal to fire an employee per se without cause, unless the employee is a party to an employment contract or collective bargaining agreement or union, okay, that requires terminations for cause. Okay, nor is it illegal to fire an employee for any reason that is unfair. For example, a mistaken accusation of workplace theft. Although the various federal, state, and city employment laws provide many protections for employees, none of them prohibit unfair treatment, however. The main anti-discrimination laws, Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, the ADEA, and the Americans with Disability Act, the ADA, 1981, the New York State Human Rights Law, the NYSHRL, and the New York City Human Rights Law, NYCHRL. Several other laws also provide employees with certain protections from being wrongfully terminated, including the Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA, and the Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, USERRA, and of course the New York State Labor Law. Okay, in deciding whether or not a person has a cause for wrongful termination, the ultimate question is whether the employer violated one or more of these laws in deciding to fire the employee. If not, then no wrongful termination occurred. But the employer violated these laws, then the employee has a right to pursue legal action against the company. Now, you can either take them to court or you can involve one of these organizations. It would be best to contact the organizations first, because then they can let you know if in fact that they did something wrong. Then you'll know you have a case in court. Okay, for example, one of the cases with me was when there was an incident that took place in the conference when we was in 30 days we was in classroom training. The next 30 days we was in what they call coaching and development. Coaching and development is an extension of training. And the manager told us that nothing that you do in coaching and development will be held against you. Then the next 30 days from then on was actually live work. We still was able to receive help, but it wasn't part of training. Okay, they were expecting for you to go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. That would be the cycle. They would automatically force you to go into those next levels, but some people didn't want to. And in my case, my manager said that I wasn't ready. So the girl hit me. She actually hit me physically. She elbowed me. Okay, and I asked her, why did you hit me? And she said, you know, because you touching my board. And, I'm like, I want an apology, and she didn't apologize, And all along, the whole time we were in the classroom, I think this was the conclusion of the class, I think this was the last day or the next to the last day. And we was in the class, and they had been making fun of me and, trying to get my attention, and I was ignoring them. So they figured they would make jokes about me. They talked about my $100 shoes and said they were looking like roach killers, And they would make jokes about my hair and everything, and just, stupid stuff. You could tell that they were kids and they had no maturity level whatsoever. So I sat all the way in the front. There was one guy that sat in the back. It was the only guy in the class. He would sit in the back of the class and fall asleep so hard that he would fall out of the chair, and the chair would make noise in the whole classroom, and nobody said anything about it to the teacher. And she was actually standing in front of the class teaching when she saw him sitting falling over. Matter of fact, her seat was right next to his seat. So all of these messed, and so in December, when I got terminated, a team leader had decided that she wanted to conduct an investigation of an incident that happened 2 months ago. Okay, I had complained about it, and now she wants to discuss the matter. So she conducted her investigation, and one thing she told me, she said, when we were in a meeting, she said, she said, this meeting is kept confidential. This meeting is to be kept confidential. So there was a couple of people that I was close to. Not everybody in the class were, idiots. There were quite a few people in the class. I would say more than half of the people in class were either neutral or I was able to talk to them. And I talked to one girl that I was close to, and I said, remember what happened in classroom training in September? She said, yeah. I said, well, I'm thinking about firing me. Can you believe that? She said, yeah. She said, really? Blah, blah, blah. So when I went back into the meeting after she had said she had conducted her investigation, she says, and this is the way she always talked to me, didn't I tell you not to talk to nobody? See, I had to calm down real fast. You know what I mean? That's why I take my pills with me. I pop me a pill right then and there, honey, because I know if I say something, baby, something going down in there on the real side, baby, and one of us ain't going to be around to talk about it. But see, I'm not going to jail for you because you ain't worth it. You're not going to send me to prison for some stupidity, baby. I'm going to keep my calm, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sue you, and then you just enable me the ability to never have to work again, baby, because I'm going to be sitting on my black derriere, getting the suntan in the palm of my hands and the palm of my feet, baby. So the only thing white on my body will be the whites of my eyes, honey, and that's only if you see them, okay? Come on, somebody talk to me up in here. Okay, because black is beautiful. All right, hello. So that's one of the reasons she cannot do that. That's illegal. That's illegal for her to do that. Okay, now so let's say that you were in a situation, okay, and don't try your best to maintain your cool, honey. I know it's gonna be hard, but try to maintain your cool. Try not to, react to them. Don't curse them out. Not there, not then and there. You will have a controlled environment, a setting in which you can do that later. But what I would suggest is please, try to calm down. Excuse me for a minute, I got to go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom, pop your pill, come back. Okay? Or go take your deep breath. Whatever it is that you have to do to calm down. Just excuse yourself. Excuse me for a moment, I have to, go to the bathroom. And they'll let you go. You go in there and you do take your deep breaths or whatever. You say your prayer or whatever it is that you got to do, and then you come back composed. Okay, try not to, because it's very easily that you could have a lawsuit. Okay, if they allow cell phones on the premises, push that record button, baby. Okay, and worry about whether it was legal to record it or not, or whether it can be held as admissible. Okay, but it will be investigated. I can guarantee you with that. Some companies, they don't allow cell phones on the floor. Okay, so in that case, you have to get real pally with somebody, real comfortable, get that person's phone number and whatnot, so that the two of y'all can communicate. Okay, and you can get them as a witness. You can even pay them a few dollars if you have to. Would you like to testify for me? I'll give you $100. You know what I mean? So, you try to stay calm, and whatnot. Try not to, no matter how, every inch of your body I know will want to reach out and touch somebody, okay? But try not to, because you got to remember the greater good which is going to be accomplished later on as a result of what you're doing now. You see, what they're doing is they're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to make you walk out the door. They're trying to incriminate you, make you incriminate yourself. But don't do it. Don't give them the satisfaction. Just remember, you can sue them for wrongful termination. You may be working on a job right now. You may be going through hell and high water on that job. Or you may have just started a job. Everything seems to be going okay. But just keep that in mind. There may come a time, I'm not saying that it will, but if that happens, and if anything goes down on that job is illegal, you make a note of what goes on, with the time that it happened and the date. One of the most important things that you need to do is to get a copy of that policies and procedures manual that they enforce you to sign at your hiring date. Try to make sure you get it, because if you don't get it, and when you go to unemployment, they're going to ask you, you signed this for the policies and procedures saying that you received it, So this is what happens. This is what's going to happen. You get fired from your job, right? First thing you're probably going to want to do is either find another job or try to get on unemployment. Okay, so you don't get a job, you file your unemployment case, right? And then they send you a letter that says that one of your employers has said something about you, and then you have to respond in a timely manner. So you respond and you tell them your side of the story, right? You don't have to even file unemployment immediately. What you can possibly do is contact these organizations first to see if you was wrongfully terminated. Give yourself a while, because that last job is not going to be used necessarily to determine your unemployment rate. You'll get more if you wait a little longer, okay, about a month or so, because they do it like they do it in Jersey. Well, they don't. They used to take it up to the date that you were terminated and add all of that up. Well, what they do is they do it by, I guess you could say, seasons, because like 3 months, that you worked, and then like say you just worked the last 3 months, they'll take the 3 months that you worked before that. And these are alternative base period weeks that they can use. Okay, but that's what they really use. So you can wait about a month. So try to find another job first, contact these organizations, see if you have a legal case against them. And then file your for unemployment. They'll send you a letter, you send it back to them, and they'll make a determination whether you're getting unemployment or not. If you're denied unemployment, you can either do two things. You can file for an appeal, or you can, what was the other thing I was going to say? I forgot. Or you could just break the disqualification. Now, what they allow you to do is they say that you've been denied unemployment. You're going to have to break the disqualification. How do you do that? You have to go back to work for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, depending on what your weekly your weekly benefit rate would be. And they'll let you know that when you file. They'll send you a letter. This is what your weekly benefit rate will be. But your case is still in the pending status. They'll say your case has been denied, and this is how many weeks that you have to work in order to break the disqualification. That's all. So you can either just do that. That means that you either got to work temporary, or you got to get fired again. At no fault of your own. I would desperately try to get, work temporary. Okay? Or you can do the other thing, or you can do them both, actually. You can file for an appeal. You send a letter to I believe the Albany office or the Court Street office. I would send it to Albany. Send it to Albany and send another letter to the Court Street office. Send them to both locations. And tell them that you disagree with the decision that was made based on your termination. Now, the employer will be required to attend. If they don't attend, now I'm not sure if this is held like a regular court, but in a regular court of law, if I'm suing you and you don't show up, the case will be dismissed, and I'll win the judgment. Okay? If I don't show up for a case that I file, then I'll lose by default because of non-appearance. Okay? If neither one of us show up, then it should be it's still in my favor, because I'm the one that filed the case against them. They didn't show up, and neither did I. So it may be dismissed altogether and no action taken. Okay, but you need to show up. You have to show up in order to be able to win. You argue your case. If they don't come, it doesn't automatically mean that your case is you're going to win, because you have to remember this is an independent court system within the Department of Labor. They're their own laws. They get arbitrators to arbitrate your case, and they will discuss your case and whether you qualify or not, and they will determine whether you qualify based on the information that you have provided. Now, in the scenario that I gave you, what happened to me, if they were to deny my unemployment and I were to go and I should file an appeal, and I would show up and I would say, well, first of all, Your Honor, the main reason why she fired me was because she told me that I talked to somebody, one of my co-workers, about what had happened in the meeting, and that's against the law. She has no right to prevent me from talking to any of my co-workers about what happened in a meeting. I have a right to talk to my employers. So she fired me. It was illegal for her to do that Furthermore, Your Honor, I did not discuss with her what we talked about in the meeting. I only asked her a simple question and told her what the outcome was going to be. I didn't tell her what we talked about in the meeting. She can, so, and so those two things will be a basis. Now they would have to determine whether they're going to give me unemployment or not. If they still deny you unemployment even after you fight your case and you have an appeal, an employer doesn't show up, it should automatically be dismissed. But you still have to arbitrate your case. If the judge says no, you're denied unemployment, then now you have to break the disqualification. That's the only way you're going to be able to get it, or you're going to have to go back to work. So if you're denied unemployment, it's not the end. You can still fight it. Okay, and two things that I know of that you can do. You can either break the disqualification, like they said, because all you have to do is go back to work for a certain amount of weeks. I had to do that once, where I had to break the disqualification I had to work 2 weeks, and I was able to break the disqualification. God sent me a job working exactly 2 weeks for this doctor's office. And I worked for 2 weeks, and they didn't need me no more and whatnot, so I got it. They had to ask them, why did you let her go? They said, because we didn't need her services anymore. But I went and I talked to her before I left. I said, I understand, if you don't need my services anymore. I said, I can definitely understand it, I said, because I've been working here for a while, and I appreciate the time that you've allowed me to work here. I wanted to go out like that, and whatnot, and let her know. I said, if you don't need my services no more, I can understand that, that's perfectly. They did tell me it was a 2-week assignment, so, I'm prepared for that. So now it would have been up to her to say, well, we can really keep you on for another 2 weeks or whatever, or, if you'd like to apply for the job permanently, we'll keep you. But she just said, okay. I said, okay, thank you. So I went back to work and whatnot, and that afternoon I left, went back, called unemployment office, got my unemployment. Okay? It's not my fault that I keep getting fired from these jobs. It's not my fault that I'm getting on unemployment every year. I think the last time that I've been on unemployment was in 2012, so I'm doing pretty good. Here's 2016, and now I'm filing for unemployment again. I haven't been on unemployment for 3 or 4 years now. So I'm sort of proud of myself. I've been working consecutively for those years, not for the same employer. I told you alone, last year I worked for 5 different companies, okay? So, but I remember that one year, I had 15 W-2 forms to file, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, I work, I keep my money, and I'm not breaking the law. I have to do it legal, okay? And that's what you need to do. Make sure that you stick within the realms of the law, okay? If you were fired and you denied unemployment, you can still get unemployment. You can either win your case in the appeals court through the Department of Labor, and if you feel that you still need to take action, you can file a small claims court in case, a small claims case in court, and file it compelling the employer to come. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to show up. This judge will be impartial, and the case will be dismissed, and you will get I believe you may get your unemployment. You're filing the case because they're denying you unemployment. They lied on you. Okay, but so that they're gonna have to retract that statement, so therefore you can't be denied if they don't come in to fight their case. Okay, so there's other actions that you can take if those 2 actions don't work, and if you can't find work to break the disqualification, then you go to small claims court. And if you're not working, if you're getting welfare or Social Security or nothing at all, you can file as a poor person's affidavit, which means that you won't have to pay anything. It's not that you're a poor person, that's just what they call it. It's a poor person affidavit, or you'll be filing as an indigent. And that would mean that you would be filing so that you can avoid having to pay the filing fees. Okay, there may be some things you might have to pay for, like copies and service if you serve the documents. But more than likely, okay, in addition to that, if you're going to take them to civil court, you might as well sue them for lost pay. You might have been entitled to some especially since they broke the law. It's illegal for them to do what they did. So now you're only suing in small claims so that you can get the maximum of what small claims allows you. Okay? So you're going to sue them for not only for that, I want my lost wages. Okay? All that time that I lost my wages, you lied on me. And I want to get paid every week until this case is settled. Or at least up until today. You know what I'm saying? And I want my vacation pay too. You can ask the judge for that. I don't know whether he's going to give it to you, but a closed mouth don't get fed, okay? Come on, somebody talk to me. Okay? You ask for that, and you can ask for punitive damages. Because they lied, they broke the law. It's against the law, so you got to pay for breaking the law. Okay? I think it's $10,000 now for small claims. So I'm walking out of that small claims court with as much of that $10,000 as I possibly can. And if they don't show up, that's an automatic default judgment against them, and you won the victory. So you'll get that monetary money automatically. All you have to do is find out where they have their bank account and take it to the sheriff, and the sheriff will expunge the funds. Okay, you'll be getting paid, and it ain't gonna take no years to do it. Okay, and when you have that 10 grand, now you can sit back and wait for the big money. The other organizations have decided to work for you on your behalf, to file for you based on the illegal act that you just won in small claims court. You may have other issues. With me, it's harassment, retaliation. They discriminated against me based on my age. There's a couple of other things that they didn't do. You know, they didn't follow their own policies and procedures. You know what I'm saying? An incident took place in that classroom which they should have addressed immediately. And I should have called the cops on that girl and had her arrested. Okay, they were supposed to have addressed that issue immediately. They did not. They let it go. They don't know what that could have caused me. I could have been hurt. I'm taking medication. I was definitely under a lot of stress, you know, and they don't know that. I had to go to the emergency room quite a few times, you know, and I was not using their insurance either. I wanted to cancel the insurance. And now I have other insurance. I had other insurance while I was working for them. And don't you know that they are billing the companies that my doctor for services, trying to get me to pay a copay? Now that's illegal too. They just giving me cases. They just gonna giving me money, honey. I mean, I might be rich after all of this going down. They just take it. They just won't leave me alone. You know. So I'm letting you know what time it is. You know, because I will travel all around the world, baby, and I will tell people about what your rights are to sue these people in court. You can sue them for lost benefits, emotional distress, which is called punitive damages, and a whole bunch of, let's see, what else can you sue for? Punitive damages, you can get punitive damages as an amount the employee is ordered to pay for actions that are particularly egregious. Unlike other kinds of damages which are intended to reimburse you for losses, punitive damages are intended to punish the employer and deter similar behavior in the future. Okay, you had no right yelling and screaming at me. You had no right doing that, retaliating against me, trying to make my job more difficult than what it was. You know, you're supposed to work with me, you know. What else can you sue for? Attorney fees. If you have to hire an attorney, you can get those back. You know, you can get all of that back. Holler at a sister at Affordable Homes and Apartments at gmail.com if you want some information on this, honey, because I know you may have a case of wrongful termination. If your boss asked you to go out to dinner with him and you said no, you may have a case of sexual harassment. You know, if he looked at you wrong and you told him, I don't like the way you're looking at me. If he brushed by you and touched you, you know, I don't like that either. You know, anything out of the ordinary of a workforce, you know, you can possibly sue. And I want to thank you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You. And I've been talking about my book, Sue Your Former Employer for Wrongful Termination and Win. Sue your former employer for wrongful termination and win, baby. Okay? And, you know, we're going to put these employers in check. When you hire me, you better hire me. You better know that I'm the right person for the job. Because if you give me a hard time and you decide that you want to do something illegal, I'm getting paid. Now I won't have to work no more for nobody else. I can work for myself for the rest of my life. I can go sit back and just chill and do nothing at all. They'll say, what are you doing? You're not doing anything? No, nothing is what I'm doing. Okay? So I want to thank you again for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You, and ask you to join me next Wednesday right here on Time Warner Public Access TV Channel 20, Wednesday 6:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And you can get this book on lulu.com, www.lulu.com. Okay? And also don't forget about this book, You're Fired, Handling the Exit Interview with Grace. And I want to thank you for joining me. Please join me next week, next Wednesday, and visit my YouTube address at sblack3001. Holla at a sister. Holla.